It's February the 1st, and we continue to be your place to enhance your future Florida trips. After starting that process for our January the 1st show, we aim to just bring a little bit more headspace to the issues that arose in that show, and also take you on a little bit closer to the magic once again. Get your notebook out and prepare for a show that I'm sure will make your next Florida trip less stressful, hopefully less expensive, but more importantly, more special for you. Let's get the planning started.
Now my wheels in motion and my windows open with the wind blowing in my hair. I'm driving down the highway, gonna do this my way. I can feel it in the air. Here I
go. Welcome everyone to our February show, and thankfully January has been amazingly quick this year. And little did we know when we did the January show just how quick it would go. But can I thank everyone for being so good in asking questions about that show, about your own plans, and through different mediums as well. So I think this is what makes it such a memorable two-way partnership. Hopefully some of your questions will be answered this month too. If not, keep listening. We will get round to them. And actually, with incoming trips amongst us, it's also a show where we can actually share some of our own experiences to make your planning a little bit less of a panic. And I think we became more aware during that January show, despite our efforts. It really did become information overload, but it actually was information that you really did need. So we're going to take the pace down a little bit. We might even include some of the bits that we spoke about last month. But who better to share the show with? We've got Ben. How are you?
I'm good, John. Relaxed. We're in February, which also means our trip is over.
There you go, you see. But
so we have to start another countdown.
I think there's a text to most people when they get to that. It's don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. I think it's always a really good way of remembering it. And I think that's probably why January went so quickly. I think you had that, having that on the go, and just before you know it, blink of an eye, you're back.
Yeah.
Becca, did you have a nice time?
I had a great time.
Sorry, please. You can't fail to, and I think that's the bit that we always keep coming back to. And I think for me, I was talking to somebody last week about this, is the fact that when you're not there, you think, oh, is it going to be quite as good? And actually, when you get there, it's just like, this is just the best time of your life, and you just like soak it up. So, hopefully.
Did Ben behave himself, Becca?
Most of the time. It was a bit weird not doing Disney, but we did Disney Springs, so, all good.
One for the memory bank, and it actually make that next trip to Disney. You'll appreciate that a little bit more as well, won't it?
Yeah.
We have also got angelically sitting with us. This is the only way I can describe it. Simon, welcome to you. Happy February.
Hi, John. Happy February. Don't know where January went.
It's just blink of an eye, mate. I think that's exactly it.
Race by.
Bizarre. I've got this vision. If you're watching on YouTube, Sam, you look like a choir boy. This is really good. I've got this angelic look about you both. It's quite uncanny.
I'm eternally angelic, John.
Exactly.
You know me.
I think that's the best way.
I feel like I want to point out that I was dressed first today in my outfit, and as per usual, Simon then dresses like me.
So you coordinated.
Impressive.
Yeah, people think it's the other way around, or that I give him clothes to wear, but no.
I'm going to move us on quickly to the less angelic Claire. to whom I must admit that was exactly the response I was actually hoping that I was going to get. So, welcome to February, Claire.
I know. February is the month of joy for me. It is Six Nations heaven. So just a few days' time till the first matches start. So bring on the rugby. That's the best thing about February. Oh, and my trip to Orlando.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I knew that. I knew that.
Not forgetting.
You set that up somehow, which actually been absolutely superb.
Yeah.
And that's the one you're taking, Millie.
It is. It's just Millie and me. We're going on a girls' trip, and we are super excited. We've been talking about all our plans and what we're going to be doing. So
I think that's absolutely cracking.
Very
That'd be
exciting.
superb.
Is this your first girls' trip with Millie? Just the two of you?
To Orlando, yes. We went to Ibiza last year together,
Yes,
which was fun.
yes.
But
Oh,
yes, no, we
that's
haven't
nice.
been to Orlando, just the two of us. And we're going to meet up with some friends. I've got I was going to say a hot date. I don't mean it like that. With Zach Brown set up. So Millie's there too. So it's not like that at all. But we are going to be catching up with Zach, which is amazing.
Absolutely fab. What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to start the show. I'm just going to pick up on a little update of something we actually spoke about in the January show. And actually, the first of which is actually a really sad loss for us who travel from the north of England or even look for that shorter journey. If you're in Scotland and you actually know that you can just get down to Manchester quite easily, we've lost 2 Orlando flights a day in midsummer, and Aer Lingus have decided they're not going to fly direct from Manchester to Orlando, which had been rumoured for a short time when we did the January show, and recently that's actually come to fruition. And I've got to admit, it's actually if you've already booked with Aer Lingus, just be patient. They will get to you, and I think they're trying to deal with people. And if you imagine they've got quite big planes, it's going to take a while for them. They're going in date order, so they're trying to do that. Possibility of being pushed towards going via Dublin, or they'll find another flight, or I think you get also the chance of cancelling. But if you've booked a lot of other things on top, and you've done your planning already, I don't think that leaves a whole lot of other options. And I think it's a really sad day because actually, you know, I think I did say this in the January show. I know Virgin now are the only direct to Orlando option out of the whole of north of England. They also go from Edinburgh twice a week. However, out of Manchester, they are really pushing their luck. And they're looking at £2,600 for a return flight in August, which
That's
That's
just
obscene. That's obscene. In economy.
Yeah.
that's
No,
economy,
that's
but
just silly
it does
money.
include a suitcase both ways.
Oh, I wonder whether it is also one of those things where the system's set up for demand.
Totally, Ben.
So as
totally.
things go increase, and
course.
it's a bit like when
Of
you're trying to
course.
get an Uber or Lyft in
Yeah.
Orlando. If you leave the park at a certain time, prices go up.
For that
Lots
money,
of
I would
companies
want it
are
to
hope
using
include,
so.
dynamic
Yeah.
pricing.
I would expect it to include a seat in
Yeah,
business.
Yeah.
For that
Yes,
price.
100%.
I think I would
Yeah.
too.
John, just
Yeah.
out of interest, if you chose to take the indirect option via Dublin, presumably you could clear
You
customs in Dublin.
can. What
do,
people
yeah.
are finding just at the
You do.
moment, because what they've done over the winter period is they've cancelled that Manchester direct flight or the New York flight, depending on what day it is, and pushed people
Yeah, yeah.
towards Dublin. What Dublin have found is that they haven't got the facility to actually deal with so many people trying to do immigration in Dublin.
Exactly
So
that, yeah.
what we're finding is some flights are actually getting that pre-clearance of customs, but some are missing. So how they deal with that at the other end, I have no idea whatsoever, and it'll probably be whatever gate you kind of get pulled into at Orlando.
Yeah.
Because Aer Lingus goes into
Yeah.
Terminal C, so
I reckon
you haven't
if
really
you
got
get-
a choice. You've still got to
Yeah.
go through immigration because you pick your bags up
Yeah.
first. So
But I think what
interesting
it is,
times.
I think as well, going back to your surge pricing scenario as well, Virgin are actually pushing an awful lot of the they fly direct to Atlanta as well, and they're pushing a lot of people to go indirect. So they're also making use of other flights that they offer with indirect, but the indirect cost is generally at certainly what we paid to go direct last year from Manchester. Now, for me, Manchester this year is not an option. We've also been keeping an eye on the Edinburgh price is better than the Manchester one. But if you head to London, the prices are really pretty much the ones that, because of competition, competition won then else
Yeah.
out of London, and actually the indirect flight, if you're prepared to travel indirect, is actually, I think I said this last month, it is you get a much better price option on an indirect flight out of Heathrow. The direct flight is actually, it's doable, I would say. But it's a
It's
sad
just
loss.
frustrating for people who
it's it
can't
just
or don't want to travel to the airport.
Yeah,
isn't it?
very
It's
much
just
so.
Yeah.
You
Really
always want to choose
irritating.
your closest airport to you, and it's
Exactly.
when you also you plan, you have a budget, you paid for your flights and all of that sort of stuff. It's difficult
Yeah.
to try and
Hopefully,
juggle
it will
everything
get
else.
resolved. And
I think
things will
there's an
improve.
opportunity for American and United Airlines to re-establish some of their presence at Manchester that they gave up probably in 2020, if not with American a
Yeah.
little bit before, where they can actually, if they run a flight into one of their US hubs, I reckon that they would get quite a bit of business out of Manchester.
And TUI as well.
Yeah.
Because TUI fly
Yes.
to Melbourne from Newcastle and
Yeah.
from Manchester, don't
Yeah.
they? So, you know,
Birmingham
there are
as
other
well, I think.
options. So,
So if you are,
See, I'm going to bring this up. I'm actually going to put my hand up and actually admit to this. After the show last month, and this is something we didn't mention. So, even doing the show, it's something that crops up. And I thought, I'll tell you what, I'll be a good dad, and I'll do our Joe's Esther, since he then booked a flight. He was on a child's passport, of which, he's not long turned 18. I thought he was fine. I thought we were fine for at least another year or so. I opened his passport to do his Esther and then found out that his passport expired in May of this year, which I thought that's not very helpful. Which in some ways you think, oh my word, can you imagine?
at least you found out now,
yeah,
not in
Or
August.
well, I would have had to do.
Yeah.
I would had to do the Esther, and that was for me. If you again, it probably goes back to the advice last month. Get your Esther as soon as you possibly can, even before you book, because actually it then means that you know that you're cleared for actually getting into the country, or you then go down the visa option if that is the other one. I know we went into that in detail last month. Now, when you always hear of really horror stories in the middle of summer. People are looking for a passport. Oh my word, what am I going to do? I'll get myself on the front page of the newspapers, this, that, the other. The passport office spoiled my holiday. Well, actually, we sent off, applied online, official website from the passport office. We actually received from application, I did post off Joe's old passport the following morning. We were issued within 7 days a brand new passport, and because he's an adult, it's now a 10-year one as well. So that's another thing. I no longer am responsible for that. It's all on him. So that's another parental thing ticked off forever.
He's got to set a reminder for 10
Yeah,
years.
exactly.
Time.
That's not on me. That's not on me. But I thought, goodness, that is such an easy thing to actually forget about, but something that I think
Yeah.
we didn't really discuss in January. The third one, and this is where, Robin, I know you'll help me on this because you helped me previously on this. But a big thank you to Joe Shepherd, who was on YouTube and actually asked the question on our YouTube channel. This is why we do this, and this is we've had so many people actually giving us different bits of really positive input, not just on YouTube but also on our social media, in our Waffles Arms on Facebook, and I really like this because this is where you get asked a question. We can't give an individual answer because actually the question is about travel insurance, and we missed this entirely. And if you have a health problem, as I do, because I have to put in every single time, and then you get the news. Oh, you've had cancer. Oh, we're going to charge you way more money than we ever thought possible. And you're like, you suddenly, and I was really fearful of this. It really had a massive issue when this is why I say I spoke to Robin about it, because you actually pushed me in the right direction of another company. And obviously we're not going to name the company, but if you get in touch with us and you want to know, we'll give you it. Yeah. But even...
do you know, though, John, it's not always that one company is necessarily cheaper than others.
No.
Or you think that it used to be, certainly, I mean, I'm talking at least 10 years ago, you'd go on to like a comparison website, something like Compare the Meerkat or other similar, and you'd type in to find the best travel insurance. But if you needed medical, none of them would come back. You couldn't do that. You had to go to each individual company. Whereas now, actually, you can put your medical declaration on websites like that, and they'll check all of the providers for you. So it's really handy. And I'm one of these crazy people that since having cancer and my stoma, my travel insurance has gone down in price than what it was before. I know, crazy. You'd think it would go up, but the reason it's gone down is because I no longer have ulcerative colitis, because I no longer have a large intestine, so my colon's gone. So that is what used to bump up the price for me. But it's definitely worth doing. And it's also worth noting that it's cheaper. We used to always get the travel insurance for the both of us together, but I've actually found that it's cheaper to get Simon his own insurance, again, going through a comparison website. It's cheaper to get separate insurance. But my top tip, and it's going to sound intense because you think, I just want to buy insurance and be done with it. And I understand that. But having been somewhere and needed to use the insurance, so in 2019 we were away, and always go away with travel insurance. We found out while we were away, the insurance underwriter was very difficult to deal with. And when you Googled although the travel insurance company got great reviews, the underwriter got really bad reviews. So now, whenever I take out insurance, I don't just check out the company I'm taking it from. I look at who is their insurance underwriter and then look at them as well, because it's really important. Hopefully you'll never need to use travel insurance. But if you do find yourself stuck for days on end in another part of the world because of the insurance underwriter, it will soon become important who is doing the underwriting.
And sometimes it's not just that is not just how that applies to you in your own treatment and the support they offer. It's actually ethically and morally how they deal with those companies overseas, as in how on time they pay for your medical cover, whether they leave bills unpaid with transfer costs and all of that sort of stuff. And it's definitely worth doing a little bit of research just about the underwriting company to see if there's like investigations ongoing from insurance agencies to look at their practice.
It doesn't take a long time. You only need to dedicate a couple of hours to this. You look at the company, you look at who's doing the underwriting, Google reviews of that company, and it's pretty quick to do, and it's definitely something to think about when you're taking it out, because it's not something I would ever have thought about before. Never. Till we had to use it.
One thing we've found with travel insurance is actually sometimes you go, I know I'm going for 2 weeks in August. You go on the comparison website, you put in the dates. But sometimes I found it cheaper to book an annual policy than it is, even though I'm not going for the rest of the year, maybe only going once that year, that it actually works out cheaper.
And that also covers you.
You just got to remember whether you're renewing the following year or not. But at least then you can then do the comparison when it comes to renewal.
But that also covers you for holidays in the UK and even any mini break that you have in between time. So it's worth looking at. The advice I did give to Joe is the fact that, and I think this, I would urge anybody, if you're going down having to put a medical declaration in, just be 100% honest. Because what you don't want from an insurance point of view is them coming back and say, well, you didn't tell us that before you went, therefore we're not going to pay out. And that is what the ones that, again, they're the ones that you see people in the newspapers where they've either not taken out travel insurance or not taken out the correct travel insurance because they had pre-existing conditions and didn't correctly. I'm trying to think of the polite way of saying it, but they didn't honestly answer and they didn't tick the box that they wanted to declare something. And I think I think for me that was the one thing that came from last month's show, that's probably one thing. If you do have a medical issue, look into that early doors, and even before you book, and just see. Certainly from my perspective, it put me off from going back to Orlando at least a good 12 months longer than I did, because actually even this week I know I've got travel insurance that renews next month, which I thought I got a very good deal on last year. But I got an email and it said, January special offer, 25% off. I'm thinking, that's pretty good. We cover pre-existing. And they were looking for double, if not more, because it actually was just for me. It wasn't even for my family. they were looking for double for one person than what I paid for 4 people last year. So, again, don't just take the first thing that you get. Work with it. Go on these comparison websites that Robin talks about, because actually you can find that there are things out there that really do make it that, take away that stress of going on holiday. But I just felt that there were three big things that had come from last month's show, and again, one of them was my own error with my own son. So we're going to move us on. Let's go on, Simon.
The other thing, John, was I don't know how openly it is covered everywhere, but like medications as well are a factor in that, as in if it's health related or it's medication, and sometimes being open and honest about medication you're taking. And obviously the biggest advent in the last couple of years has been weight loss medication, and that should also be declared. It's probably something that most people don't even think about, but because there are elements of known side effects to weight loss drugs as well, those have to be declared as you are carrying weight loss medication if you take it with you to the US, because it may be relatively low risk, but you could be prone to an impact from the side effect of one of those. So it might be something that people aren't even factoring in, because they think, well, I'm taking a Ozempic or Mounjaro, I've got my pen with me, but I don't have any pre-existing medical conditions. But actually, it's a medication that does need to be registered with your travel insurance, just in case.
It's one of those things, actually calling up the travel insurance company and just saying, this is my situation. Because sometimes what you put in doesn't fit in the box, isn't on like a comparison website, and they want more detail. Because I remember when you were being diagnosed with MS, that we had that sort of like, we can't cover you, but we can cover you. And it took about 4 or 5 days for the travel insurance companies to come back because of the underwriters and to say what level of cover we could get under this and if it would cost us any more. So that was an interesting week.
Fun.
This is great, because actually we've now, in the space of a show and a half, we've probably put more people off going to Orlando than
Terrified everybody.
Yeah. We've done more work for the Orlando Tourist Board in an hour and a half than their president has in probably the last 6 months.
I have to say, I find your discussion around insurance fascinating, because it's not something that I ever give consideration to. It's not my travel insurance is with my bank account. I have a certain bank account that gives family travel insurance. It covers everyone that I'm traveling with for the whole year, regardless of how many trips we do. And it is not something that ever crosses my mind. So the fact that you guys know the ins and outs and the tricks and how to get the best deals, it's not something I could ever comment on. But I would just say that if you do have a bank account that gives you travel insurance, it's worth checking that it does actually cover you for what you need to cover it.
And check that they cover medical, because some of them will cover you, but if you've got pre-existing medical, you have to pay extra.
So that's what I mean,
top up.
is that if you've got pre-existing, like for me, it's not that our family, that's not an issue. But I do remember John's point, which is he always prints out the phone number and the contact details for the travel insurance so that he has it in hard copy, just in case something happens. And I now do that. Thank you, John.
That's very good.
And it's always, I always come across as being dead old school on that, but actually,
not at all.
Works.
I would not have thought of it, but actually, I went off into my bank account to find the details, and I thought, if I was in a situation where I needed this and I was panicking, I would find it really hard to find it. So actually, to print it out and put it in my travel wallet where I keep, passport, money, whatever it is that I, all the other documents that I need, to know that it's there, and if something happened, I needed to contact them, I know that I can just pick it out of the folder and go, right, there it is, and not have to try and work through systems and apps and various things where I'm in a stressful situation. I found that really useful.
Disaster planning, Claire.
We're meant to be going on a fun holiday to Florida. Can I just remind you of
The best
that?
thing of all is the fact that if anything does go wrong, I know that I've got something close to hand.
John's prepared.
I'm like,
this is just weird, because it's just giving me flashbacks to my old job where we had a disaster recovery kit in like the server room in case something went wrong. It just feels like this is the sort of thing, those things that you might need to take, because you never know what's going to happen on your holiday.
Isn't it silly that we think like that? But sometimes it's that reassurance that you've got everything lined up. I still print everything out on hard copy. I have my flight reservation, my hotel reservation, my the car and your car reservation, all in hard copy. I have
see.
them on my phone as well. And 99% of the time, I never take the piece of paper out of the folder.
No.
But just
You
in
have
case,
it just in case.
I lose my
Yeah.
phone in the lounge on the way.
It's the same with the Esters. Print
Yes.
them out.
Yeah,
Just
I
have them-
don't print them out, but I have the number written down.
See,
there you
I have
go.
them printed from like a year ago, so it's like, but I have to admit, everything else for the trip that we went on, we didn't take anything.
Yeah.
Everything was on my phone. Everything's phone. It was all fine.
Did you not worry about losing your phone down the
you can
seat
tell
when you
he's
changed it
younger
into a
than you can
bed?
tell
Why
he's
would I lose my phone down the
he's
seat?
Tell he's younger than us, Claire. That's it.
Also, my iPad was with me, so worst case scenario, it's on there too.
Yeah, I have to say, I keep everything on my phone in a note as well.
Yeah.
I still need the printed one. In fact, I'll tell.
I'm interested to know the people who are listening. What do you do? Do you still print it, or do you just go with the digital option
Yeah.
and hope that
It's
everything's fine?
Only been the last trip or two that we stopped printing
Yeah.
everything out.
Yeah.
So, and again,
It's been
I have
years.
it printed
It's been years.
in
been
the
a long
order that
time.
I'm going to use
It's just
them.
been too long. Just like we've had so many different like Esters and hotel reservations and airline, and it's like the folder never comes out my bag.
No, but say,
It-
just what would happen if you lost your phone?
He'd use his iPad. Or he'd use my phone.
What if you
because
lost
it'll
your
be on my
bag
phone too.
and your phone and your iPad both went? What would you
Becca's
do?
got a phone.
I've got my phone and my iPad.
It's a shared note.
It's a shared
go
note.
back and
Yeah, same. Ours
I
is
still,
same.
yeah, okay.
No.
You see, we've
Hard
gone.
no.
What happened if
we've-
you
But
lost
I wouldn't be
your
going
folder
because
with
I'd have
all
lost
the
my
paperwork?
passport. I wouldn't be going anywhere because my passport
Right.
would have been in the bag. So
we went fully back to old school with our February planning for India, and that was that my dad even pre-printed all of the itinerary out
Good
I
in
love that.
multiple copies for us to.
I love it. Love
so
it.
there was
Well
4
done,
copies
Claire.
of the itinerary for us to mark
Yeah,
up and
not
go
only
for.
that, but he wants a printed copy when
To
we go
take.
because I've
Is he
done all
gonna
the
highlight
planning. I'm not sure if he's going to highlight it, but he wants a printed copy so
I
he knows
love
each
that.
day
Yeah.
where he's going and what the plan is.
I love it. That's great.
I was like, Cliff, you've got a shared note on your iPad. I did it for you. He went, I don't know how to get in that.
let us know in the comments what you think. Are you
Yeah,
someone
I'm
who will
interested
store
to know
everything
how
on your
people
phone,
approach it.
or do
I
you have a
reckon-
hard copy of every
I
single
think more people are
document?
Be
school
like
than they would
Cliff.
like to
That's
be.
all I can say on that one. I'm with
be more
Cliff. That's
Cliff.
it. Speaking of which, this is actually a really good point because actually this is something. This leads us into something we didn't mention last month, and we plugged on the live show every Wednesday when we're on YouTube. We've spoken about this so many times. People are probably sick to death of us talking about it. And we missed it out on the January show because actually it is a mobile only thing. You can't print it out. However, I feel like Martin Lewis now. However, it is different than your Esther, right? So listen carefully. Get your Esther, print it out or do it on the app. I don't like the app because I don't like all my cookies being followed, etc. That's a me thing. If you've got your Esther, it is different than this bit I'm about to tell you about, because Claire did this. I think it'd only been started about 1 or 2 weeks, and Claire went to the US. This thing called mobile
Yeah.
passport control. Now you can pre-fill the app prior to you leaving the UK. When you land, you need to take a selfie of yourself. Now, we find if you get a little bit of Wi-Fi at Orlando Airport whilst you're on the plane, that's one way of doing it. Or when you're in the queue,
Placed.
take a photo.
I have a
Yep.
top tip. As soon as your aircraft leaves the runway, so when you feel the aircraft turning off the runway and you can feel it turning round, at that point is the moment they say you can use your data. That is the time to take your selfies in the NPC app.
That's
because
only
you're
if you've
sit-
got a phone that you can
Exactly,
use in the US.
Robert.
though.
That's what I was going to say.
You can. Can you not log into the app still and take the photos?
No,
No.
it has to join to
Yeah.
the connection.
So
So it is the next bit. So you
That's
need
the
to
time
either
I do.
have
You need
your
Wi-
eSIM
yeah.
from like Airolo or other companies sorted. So as soon as you land, it activates, or you've
Yeah.
got a data plan,
I don't know what
or
people's
if
experience.
Wi-Fi's in the
Whole
right
other story.
direction.
I don't know what people's experience are wait time on using NPC at Orlando. I just look back to our Los Angeles trip in September last year, And it was quite. I mean, it didn't help the weekend we arrived. It was it Memorial
Labor Day weekend.
but the incoming traffic there was quite significant. It was still quicker to use NPC.
It was still a wait though for
But
you,
it was
wasn't
still, I waited at least an hour and a bit. It was probably an hour and 20 minutes it took me. And
Was it as long as that?
Yeah, it wasn't even that it was a long queue. It was that they didn't have many people tending to NPC because the rest of the airport was so busy.
That, I think, is the challenge, because the NPC line tends to be the same as Global Entry or next to Global Entry, and they only have 1 or 2 desks serving. So I'm thinking the last few times, probably the last 6 or 7 times I've gone into Terminal C. And when you look at, obviously you wait for your bags first, so that there's no benefit to being at the front of the plane, actually, other than it's a comfortable seat. You're not going to get through any quicker because everyone's waiting for their bags at the same time and then going through immigration at the same time. And I've done NPC every time until the last trip in December, because I had a brand new ESTA. And in theory, you're not supposed to use NPC when you've got a brand new ESTA. It's only applicable for people who have got an ESTA under which they have travelled previously to the United States. There's some debate about that online, but I went with the rules.
Yeah.
I'm a rule follower, as you know.
Guess which one I was. Guess which one I was.
I love the fact that everyone laughed at that point. By the time my bags had come out, and because the belt broke for like 20 minutes, the queue in the main line had gone. So I thought, I'm just going to go with it. But there was 2 desks serving NPC, and there was a massive long line. And then there was 8 desks serving the normal immigration queue. And actually, it looked like it was long. There was 3 switchbacks, but actually I was through it in 10 minutes because of the number of desks. And yes, the immigration officer needed a sense of humour injection. But, you know, that is standard.
Yeah.
And challenged me on the amount of luggage that I had for 5 nights. Again, I have no issue with that. You can challenge me all you like. But... NPC, sometimes when you look at it, it should be quicker, but sometimes it actually might not be. So do look at the lines. That's the thing. I think that when you're going into Terminal A or B, there is probably a difference in terms of, certainly in MCO, in terms of Terminal C. And I've experienced, as you say, John, we used it first when we went into New York, and we went in the line, the NPC line. We were the only people using NPC that day because it had only been out for like 3 or 4 weeks. And we were held at the front of that line where every single US citizen went in front of us. So they held us because it was the same line as the citizen line. And so they just kept us there standing. We were like, why are we waiting? And they just waited for every US citizen to go past us. And then we were allowed to go. So whilst the rules may appear to be clear, there is some fluctuations and some local
I think as well, Claire,
agreements.
I think it's worth actually adding the fact that in Orlando Airport, you have to consider this as basically a little bit of formative training for what is going to happen for your whole of your holiday. Especially when you go to order food from different places, and you're trying to guess which line's going to go quickest, and you just it's like on the supermarket in the UK, and well, I was going to say like it used to be in the UK, but now we all have to queue up in the same line. And we scan ourselves
yourself.
Anyway, so that's another thing that raged me.
We used to have to do that, and then they got rid of that.
Got rid of real people. Strange that. But mobile passport control. There is an app for it.
It's free,
and I think it's well worth it.
I mean, there are very few things within travel that are free, and it can save you. And certainly, we've used it multiple times. I've used it multiple times. I reckon it's probably saved me 30 to 45 minutes each time that I've used it.
We've only ever saved like 10 minutes through each.
Right.
Every time we've used it, 10, 15 minutes.
It just depends on when you land and how many. So I found that certainly Terminal C, there's not that many airlines that are using it, and certainly the same time flights that are landing as the BA flights for me. There's a couple of South American airlines that use Terminal C. They all sort of land around 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you get caught, you can have quite a long standard immigration queue. It seems like the UK guests are a bit more clued up about NPC than other countries, which is, and if you're standing there, I know it says you're not allowed to use your phone while you're in the luggage hall, but you can download they do allow you to download the NPC app.
Every time we've gone through, there's always been a big queue. Is that the NPC app or is that the regular line? A lot of it is people trying to get in the NPC line who are trying to take photos.
Yeah. So,
And
I
that's
think-
always been the confusing bit.
I did notice that I think it was at LAX when we were there. I think they changed some of the signage about use of phones to distinctly say
Yes.
Yeah.
no photos using mobile devices. So you were allowed to use your phone for doing the NPC and things
it's
like that.
definitely more relaxed than it used to be. I mean, I remember arriving at Orlando I think it must have been Terminal B, and people shouting, "Put your cell phones away!" You know, you weren't allowed to, but now it's far more relaxed. I don't think that people really mind that much, especially if you're like, "Oh, I'm just doing NPC."
I think that's
whatever
that's
it is.
exactly it, Claire. You know, as everyone's becoming much more mobile centric, they can't get away with it because actually, it's not possible. It becomes
As long as you're not filming and taking photos of the immigration hall and the immigration officers, you know.
But that was one thing I felt it's really important that we shared. The other one as well goes with car hire. I'm going to leave car hire. Go back and watch or listen to the January show. We did speak about that and how you can save a bit of money. But also, there's this nice little thing that if you do a little bit of planning in advance, again, it's an app. To start with, you get the visitor toll pass. You pay $10 up front. You turn up at Orlando Airport only. Doesn't work. I don't think it works out of Miami. I think that's the other.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Or
And
Tampa.
I haven't seen it at
you
Tampa
can-
either.
I believe you can buy it at some.
You can buy a sun
Can you not
pass
buy it
at
at
some.
some
Yeah, I'm not even.
You can buy
I'm
some
not
pass,
even-
Oh, yeah, you can buy
I've never
some
tried
pass,
that, so I wouldn't even pretend to even give advice on it. But the visitor toll pass out of Orlando is again another reason for actually travelling to Orlando Airport, purely from the fact it covers all your tolls, and basically you don't have to take out the hire car companies. I'm trying. We've talked about this before.
Upsell.
Yes.
The hire car
Yeah,
company upsell is the word
I'm
you're
not
looking
quite
for,
sure
John.
that I would be.
Their toll
I wouldn't quite
packages.
say it was quite as polite as that, but yeah, I'll go with the upsell. But it's $10, and then you just pay for your toll passes. What's really worth it is the fact that you can go through any toll you want, come back to the airport, you pop it back in the bin. Not the literal bin, the actual toll pass machine bin.
The deposit bin.
It feels like a bin. It's quite disconcerting. But the visit toll pass, I have found the past 2 trips that we've done has been an absolute godsend, because actually I've not given the hire car company a lot of extra money. What I've found is I've not paid. I've basically just paid what I should for the tolls. I have felt it's just felt so much at ease.
It's really surprising how many, what the price of tolls vary from different hire companies. Some are like a few, like $5-10 a day, but some are up to like $27 a day.
I think it's worth checking your if you're getting a hire car, check what the rules are, because I know what I choose to do with Avis. I tend to rent with Avis because it comes as part of the BA package, and I know what their rules are, and I know how I work that. And that's my choice, how I choose to do that. But I know that some companies absolutely inflate the price, and you end up paying a lot of money if you don't do something like the visitor toll pass, or drive to the right and pay in cash, which we all used to do, and have a bag of coins when we went back to Orlando.
Or you can use your phone and just put no tolls. It's going to take you longer to get places, but that's an option if you want to. You don't have to use the visitor toll pass. We have done on a couple of trips, and it's been very good.
Yeah. It's worth noting that you have to make sure you give it back at the end,
Yeah, you
or
do.
you'll be charged. And we found that out the hard way, because we didn't know that you couldn't give it back to get Tampa. So we ended
Just
up
pay an extra $10.
looking
Is it
for
an
it
extra
at Tampa.
$10, Robin?
It's $10 if you forget. So it's definitely worth noting that. Make sure you factor in those extra couple of minutes to find out where you
So have you
drop
still
it
got
off
one
and make sure
at
you
home?
do
You
that.
know, like when people used to scrapbook holidays back in the day.
Can you bring it
You
out?
actually bring it home with you, couldn't you? And it just cost you. Yeah, it'd be a little
We may
a
have
little
it.
memento for it.
We
It'd
may
be
have it
cheaper than buying
somewhere.
Disney and
Yeah.
Universal merch. That. Can you imagine? You just put it. I could put it up on the wall.
I'm thinking, could you stick it on your rear view mirror next time you go and see what happens?
Hey, now there's a thought. Oh yes. Now let's not go there because I might confuse people. Yeah, I'll have a little look at that. 'Cause actually, that could be a game changer.
if it was within a
Yeah.
certain period of time.
Probably
I don't
is.
know. Let's
Yeah,
investigate.
probably is, but yeah, that was another little thing. Anything else, guys, that we really didn't get onto that bit of how, I know we were desperate to say, give people advice about being in the parks and stuff like that, but how about from the airport to your hotel or villa? If you've not got a car,
With so many options. Yeah, there's lots of options, but I did a quick check before we came on to the recording, and so everyone remembers the Magical Express, and it was free many years ago. And if you look back at those old videos, it talks about one of the benefits. It's not free anymore, and Mears Connect is the option for one of the bus transfers, and they do direct transfers from Orlando International at all terminals. To all of the Disney resorts, all of the Universal resorts, you can get that bus to
I
where you
didn't
want.
know they did Universal, so I've just learned something new.
And it
Didn't
is
know that.
$16 per adult each way, or bear with, for children it is $13. So you
So if
go
it's a
to
family of 4, do you
Right.
think it would be then cheaper to just hire an Uber?
it depends. I think it
where
probably
you're
depends how
going.
much luggage you have. To be honest
Wow,
with you,
yes.
Yeah.
Because
If
you're
you
going to have
have-
to get a large Uber.
We normally get
then.
an
right?
Uber XL when we've gone from sort of MCO to
and
Disney.
how much does that cost you?
About $40.
Right. So I've used Mears Connect myself when I went without a car a couple of years ago. I was going to Coronado Springs. It was $32 return. It was super convenient. I came into Terminal C. I had to go, at that point they didn't pick up at Terminal C, so I had to go over to Terminal B to get the bus. I waited for about 15 minutes. The bus came, the man took my luggage, he loaded it in, it was very comfortable. We did go to 2 other resorts before we went to mine, which was, anyone who's been on a holiday where you have a bus transfer, sometimes you go to other resorts first. It didn't take that long. It was like 45 minutes, so it wasn't particularly lengthy journey. It was super convenient. I didn't have to worry about who was coming to pick me up. I was on my own, so I didn't want to get an Uber. I felt more comfortable getting the bus with lots of people, and it was great. And then on the way home, the only thing I felt was that I was a little bit anxious about how late they picked me up to go to the airport, because I'm a person. Yeah. And this is a personal preference. I like to be at the airport 3 hours before minimum, sometimes a little bit longer. So if I've got my own hire car, I tend to be there like 3.5 hours before, just because I want to be sure that, sure that I'm there in plenty of time, sure that I've got enough time in the lounge. No, it's not that. I get super anxious about travelling, so I like to be there early. That's both ends.
Claire, we should never travel together.
Are you like a 2 hour before?
I will not get to the airport 3 hours before.
Oh, no.
Maximum is
I am
2.5
never-
hours.
I'm like Claire.
Yeah.
No,
I'd rather be there 4 hours early.
Right.
no.
Right.
Then I'm
2
asking you
hours.
for why we're here so
Seriously.
early.
Right, I don't
rather
care.
than
I don't care. As long as my bags have gone, I know they're tagged to the right place, I am happy. So the fact that the Mears Connect picked me up at like 3 hours before the flight from my resort, and then went to 2 other resorts before it went to the airport. And we got there about probably 2 hours, 15 minutes before my flight. I was like, my heart was bursting out my chest. I was super. And they obviously done this lots of times. I was like, they know what they're doing. But for me, that was an anxiety-provoking moment. It was fine. Checked in. There wasn't an issue. So I would say that I would do it again, but I would have to manage my own anxiety around that rather than worrying
I'm
about
sure you could phone and say, no, I'm on
Can
an
I go the
international
earlier
flight and I think I need to go earlier.
Yeah,
I'm sure that
you
would be an
could, but,
option.
I found them super helpful, very, courteous, considerate, kind, really nice service, super cheap, $32. So what's that, 23 quid or whatever it is for a return journey to Orlando International from any Disney resort. I think that's a bargain, to be honest with you. And if you've got, a number of bags, and you would have to you'd have to order a really big Uber, and have to wait for it as well.
The Uber XL we had was, we tend to get an XL when we're going from the airport because we've normally got like 4 bags between us.
Right.
So we always go for an XL, and there's always plenty of room left over, and that was only $40.
But there's only 2 of you. So if you have a family of 4 who has 6 bags, actually, That's
you
not
might
going
need
to be
two.
a big enough vehicle by the time the car, unless it's like a massive, truck, unless you're driving a Suburban. Some of them do. But if you've got 6 or 7 bags and 4 or 5 people, that could A, increase your wait time, and B, increase your cost. So
We do usually do 4 of us, 4 adults with an XL if we're going to and from the airport.
Okay.
Yeah, you can
And
Is
it's the
it-
same sort of price? Is it still sort of 40,
yes,
$45
it's
Uber
just
XL was about
XL.
$40.
Yeah.
each way?
Each way.
Okay.
Tenner each.
So for the extra $8 for us two traveling, I would rather go straight to my resort
Yeah.
and not have that. Sometimes, especially depends on the time of the flight that you've gone. I remember once we got the Magical Express, and I think this was the last time we got Magical
Yeah.
Express took us to Polynesian. But I think we went around 4 resorts before we got there. We'd left like MCO at like 5 o'clock. We got to Polynesian at 7:30
Okay.
because of all of the resorts that it went round. And I don't think it's like that anymore. But it was just
Yeah.
that's the difference if you
That's the risk you take, isn't it?
yeah.
But I think, like you, Claire, when I go on my own, if I'm going straight to Disney, I don't want to get in an Uber on my own either.
No.
So I will definitely get on the Magical or Mears Connect, what used to be Magical Express. And like you say, for $16, they're going to take my bags off me, load them up. I'm going to sit on the bus, watch the TV for a bit, and just
Yeah.
chill out and not
feel
have to
safe
worry.
and secure
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not worry about who's driving me and where
Yeah.
I'm going.
Can I ask a stupid question? Right? Because
Yeah.
yeah,
You
I know,
always do.
and that's why I'm going to ask it. but I'm looking on their website, right? So if I booked a villa on the 192, it's not going to drive me to my villa and stuff like that. So could I possibly, in theory, if I don't have a car, or if you're one of those people that like to enjoy the flight and maybe have the lounge before you get on the flight, and whilst you're on the flight, you're basically making the most of the drinks options. Could you possibly get a Mears Connect to the nearest Disney, or I'm looking down the list of hotels that they do service, so quite a lot of them are around Disney Springs area as well. So if I had a villa or a hotel elsewhere booked, can I just get the Mears Connect to one of those hotels and then book myself an Uber if I was that way put out?
Are you suggesting you could get a Mears Connect to the Polynesian and sit in Trader Sam's for a couple of hours before
That
you
sounds
head to your
perfect,
villa?
actually, if I'm being honest with you.
That sounds a great way to start your holiday.
And by the time you leave there, you don't even care where your luggage
You
has
don't
gone.
care where you're staying.
Don't care where the luggage has gone. Take me
You'll
wherever.
be staying in reception. in
Take
the
me to
lobby.
Miami. Miami next party time.
I was sleeping,
Yes, John,
sleeping
you
on one
can.
of the sunbeds at the pool for overnight.
Save yourself money, John. You
I
can
was
cut one
thinking
night
that,
off your
Hey,
off
I'll
your
take
villa.
myself back a few years. I
by
think
the
I've done that a couple of times, but that's very much in my youth.
I believe you
Right.
can. I don't think they check that you
That
have a
was-
hotel
that's-
reservation.
I don't think I've ever put in a hotel reservation. I've put in my flight
Right, okay.
details, but I don't think I've
I think
put
it's
in
an
a reservation
optional
number.
field
Right, okay.
in the.
I just thought it's worth
booking.
saying, because actually it might be something that if someone is either going on their own or they're staying at another hotel which is off site, and
Or
this-
they're picking the car up at the car care centre
Yeah.
or the Swan and
Yeah.
Dolphin.
this is actually a way in which you can actually flip the cost and actually say save a few dollars, because actually, as we know, if you can save a few dollars, it then means that you've got more to spend when you get into the
Yeah.
parks as well. So
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
You could absolutely get the Mears Connect to Animal Kingdom Lodge and then get an Uber from Animal Kingdom Lodge to your villa on the
'Cause it's
192,
very
which
close.
is like 5 minutes away.
Although, how
And I
much
bet
does a
that would
villa?
be cheaper.
How much does an Uber,
Uber from Animal Kingdom Lodge to
Animal Kingdom to the 119?
I mean,
Not
you're
much.
probably
Very,
looking
very
at
cheap.
$10
Yeah.
or something.
Right.
However,
But
you're
add
also
that
looking
to
at
the price of
the
your Mears
Mears.
Connect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cost of Sonar when you get to Animal Kingdom
yes,
Lodge.
yes, bread service and obviously you walk past the DVC booth and
Right,
there's
all of that stuff.
You end up going
But
to
if you want to make a thing of it, you totally could do
that's,
that.
That's worth knowing.
Yeah.
I think that's actually, and again, it's like looking into it. And again, if you're using Lyft or you're using Uber, you can actually do it from the UK and actually just flip it around, and you can actually put in the journey that you want to take. Obviously, price surging comes into the equation, but you can see how much roughly it's going to cost you.
yeah.
Yeah.
But also register your account for either Uber and Lyft while you're in the UK, because you'll get, I frequently get like 10% off
Discount.
vouchers.
Yeah,
so
I
some
get them all the
discounts
time.
that I'm like, I know we're hiring a car for this past trip, but in the lead up to it, we were getting like 10% off vouchers of Lyft.
I keep getting
So-
messages from them saying, you have a 10%
Yeah.
discount you haven't used. I'm like, I
Welcome
know.
back. Here's 10% off.
Yeah. And do
Up
register
to
for
$3.
Lyft.
10%
and-
up to $3.
But,
Here we go.
also register for Lyft and Uber because frequently, if you check
Yeah.
both apps,
One's
there will
cheaper than
be
the
a
other.
difference in the pricing, and it's the same driver in the same car.
Has anyone been in an Uber where they've arrived
Changed the signs
and
over on the
changed
front.
the sign?
Absolutely. Yeah.
The one thing you need to look out for as well when you're doing any of the parks, if you're ordering Ubers and Lyfts, is sometimes pickup from the park pickup location is always, especially if it's park closing time or it's near the end of the day, the surge price will go through the roof. What you're actually better to do sometimes is go to a nearby hotel and order the
Spot
Uber
on.
from there, and it will shave dollars off the cost of it. And it might not even be that far away. If it's Magic Kingdom pickup, just going to the Polynesian might save you quite a few dollars. It's surprising just how big the
And you'll
difference.
get a
to
nice
Beach
little...
Club.
Yeah. You can get a nice little boat trip for
Yeah.
And you
a
can sit
monorail
in the
ride.
comfort and the air conditioning and all of those things until your
And you
car
can
is there.
also, and this is from last year that I found this out, is if you just take your time at park closing, you can go for a beer at the beach club on the exit of Epcot. Give
would do
it
that,
20
John?
minutes, and then order you.
I can't believe you're suggesting
because
that.
then you save the amount of money that your Uber or Lyft was going to cost. You've had a
Pay for
beer,
beer.
so it pays for at least one of the beers, and then you're back to your villa. It was, I just thought that was one of my big wins from last year. I just thought, here we go. This is it.
Beach
class
Club or
it as-
Boardwalk are both
Instead of saving
brilliant
money,
for
it's just a free beer.
Yeah. You don't get
Free
much
beer,
of that in
woo.
Disney hotels ever. So that's, take that. If you're making note of some of these hints and tips, that is one of the ones that just like put a little star beside it. Just give yourself
Totally.
20 minutes,
Free beer.
half an hour to actually enjoy.
Yeah. Wander slowly.
Yeah.
Get a beer. Then order your Uber.
Who would
Totally
get a
worth it.
beer? None of us
No.
are big drinkers.
No,
Not beer drinkers
to
anyway.
bars.
having given up on,
Crazy idea. Go and sit in a
I'm
bar
giving
for
up on
hours.
dry January on January the 2nd. Then
I didn't even
no,
start.
there you go.
No. It's already January. I don't need to hate myself
No,
even more.
I'm not even got a badge. Not even got a badge of honour for February to wear. Like, hey ho, we'll move on. We'll leave that. Just very quickly, and we've brushed upon this, and you've got the hotel and you've got the villa option. I think we probably will go into more detail in future months about this, but because we're talking planning, and I think it's probably key now, because if people are booking, you're generally either looking at a package or you've booked your flight and you're looking for somewhere to stay. But how do you choose and where? So you've got obviously got your on-site and off-site bit, and I think I'm gonna leave just the on-site bit for another time, purely because I think a lot of that is very cost-driven, and then we can obviously put in DVC points, etc., and we will come back to that in the future. But what sort of, that whole bit about where, do you need to be right close to a park, or is it better going, is it better going sort of to one of the hotels at the top of I Drive because it's dead cheap? Well, I'm just putting it out there to you guys, because I think people who listen to this are going from 2 points of view. It's just like, do I go on site, do I go off site, and how much money can I actually spend? Because actually, I think I've said this before, that money becomes quite a big driver in how you can save. And I've actually looked at the cost of staying for 2 nights in the beach club in the summer, and to be very honest, Disney are not getting that amount of money from me, because actually that is ludicrously priced at the moment.
Yeah.
It depends on what you want to do that trip. Obviously, if we're doing a big Disney trip, generally we'll try and split across 2 like on-site stays, like one at Magic Kingdom, everyone. But sometimes when we've looked like off-site, and just like, it depends on what the trip is. Are we going to be just fully in the parks more all day from rope drop to fireworks, Or is it going to be a bit of both, where we want to be close to the parks, but also close to some places off-site for eating? Claire, you mentioned being close to the 192. There's so many good food options. So it's trying to work out where the location is for where you want to spend the majority of your trip.
I also think the biggest factor is budget.
Yeah.
Because, like you say, John, some people are going and spending their money on 2 weeks from the UK, staying at the beach club, and more power to you. Like, I am so happy for you. But that wouldn't be in our budget. We wouldn't be able to afford it. So I think a lot of it has to do with what can you afford. That start at that point. What can we afford? And then break it down. Should we do a villa? Have we got lots of children who would like their own space? Would we like our own space away from our children? Villa's a great option. Or an apartment with multiple bedrooms. We don't know. We could be fine in one hotel room. Okay, well, one hotel room is often cheaper than a full villa. So you could maybe go into a slightly nicer hotel room if you're all staying there. And then you can go, well, do you know what? We'd like to spend some time in Universal and some time in Disney. How about we stay near Universal but on site at Disney, or vice versa?
I think from my perspective that one of the things to consider is the occupancy level of the rooms that are available. So if you are a couple, pretty much all hotels are accessible to you. If you happen to be a family of 5, so perhaps 1 adult, 4 children, or 2 adults and 3 children, actually that impacts on the availability of different hotels, and you're going to cut down the options both on site and off site in terms of how, if you're going to share a hotel room or a condo or whatever that looks like. So lots of them are based on 4-person occupancy, and if you have 5 people, you can't stay there. So you need to consider really carefully, have you got the right number of people that will fit into the hotel room or the condo that you are going to book? Because if you turn up, if it's a 4-person occupancy and 5 people turn up, they will not let you stay there. So I think that's really important if you're a bigger group. And that's where villas kind of come into their own, probably in terms of cost effectiveness. But there are other hotels that are available, things like Extended Stay America. There are lots of sort of Sonesta suites. There are things up at Flamingo Crossings, which is like the Marriott suites and stuff like that, which have a slightly more flexible option in terms of there are 2 double beds and then there's a sofa bed in the lounge. So if you have 5 people, then that gives you slightly more flexibility. So for me, one of the main things, apart from budget, is have we got the space and the actual occupancy for the number of people that are going? Because 2 people you fit everywhere, 5 people you don't. So it's really worth looking into what the options for you are.
Also, even if you're 4 people, a 4-person family, 2 adults and 2 children, might be the kids do not want to share a bed.
Right. So
and if
that's
it's
our
2
family.
doubles, you're then going with what
That's
are
2
our
rooms
options
immediately for us.
Or,
our
a
kids are
room
10
with a
years
bunk
old.
bed. Or,
Our kids are 10 years difference in age. And actually it's not reasonable to expect them to share a room. Like, they will do it for one night, but for 2 weeks, absolutely not. And I wouldn't ask them to do that. So then you're looking at booking 2 rooms, or do you book a condo, or do you book a villa? For us, that's how it works better in a villa option. However, in August, we've got, me, Dan, Millie, and then Morgan and his girlfriend are coming. And actually for 2 nights, we're staying in a 2-bedroom in Old Key West, because actually there's a bedroom with a double bed, there's a bedroom with 2 double beds, and then there is the lounge, which has got sofa beds for the world. So we can fit in a 2-bedroom in Old Key West. We probably could have fitted in a 1-bedroom, but actually people to have their own space and privacy and dignity and all of that stuff, we chose a 2-bedroom, and we've rented points for that. But again, it kind of, think about who's in your party and the space that people might need before you and then pair that with your budget and look at what your options are.
I think that is a
my
brilliant
advice.
thing to come up with, and actually you've hit upon a load of different little things that I know that we can come back to in future shows. But I think as well it does come back.
I always reflect on past experience when people ask me, and I think back to our early trips. And when we stayed on, I drive in cheap hotels, and it was just the 2 of us. And then, it was like, that was a definite, we did all the parks, but we were out and we didn't see much of the hotel room. So it was like that was a that was the right hotel for us at that time. And as we've gone more frequently and we've adjusted what we want from a hotel.
As we've got older and we
As we've
can't
got
do
older.
that.
But then I think back to
Speak for yourself.
I think at wider family trips as well, where we've stayed in villas. We've stayed in various size villas, and those have served a purpose when we've been doing multiple parks. But as we've gravitated more to just focusing on Disney, we've ended up in DVC, and we routinely have, if there's a group of us, we'll split between what we need, 1 bed or 2 bed, or a 1 bed and a studio, and we're pretty flexible with that. But I think it's kind of reflective of the need at the time you're going and what you're trying to do. I think it's kind of just echoing what everybody else has said. But I always think back to our first trips when it was up at 6:30 in the morning, eating breakfast in the hotel, out for like rope drop. I never saw the hotel till 9
Because the
o'clock that
breakfast
night.
was like included in the hotel, so you
That's what I
went down
did in
to
December.
breakfast. You got
I actually think this is something, and I actually do feel this is something that sort of you lose sight of it the more often that you go. You know, and I go back to some of the places we stayed originally, and you've got to like your family quite a lot. If you're a family of 2 adults, 2 kids, and you've got the same bedroom, and it does become a little bit of a squeeze at times, and it is something where you get back on.
There's no escaping them.
But
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And I think you don't underestimate the close quarter living. It's like, I guess it must be like being a submariner. You're in really close quarters with people all the time, because you're probably spending all day with them in the parks as well. And then when you get back to the room, there is no escape. And really consider, is that something that you feel that you can do? You might go, oh yeah, of course they're my family. And then you go, oh, they're my family.
and this is for 2 weeks. The average trip from going from the UK is 2 weeks.
No way I could spend 2 weeks in a hotel room with my family.
And if we did that in August with family.
I'm really honest about it, and they know that. You know, it's not an option for me. Someone is not coming out alive. End of conversation.
This came up for me a couple of weeks ago, actually. A really old school friend of mine. I mean, I went to primary school with him, you know, back in the early 90s, and randomly out of the woodwork, he dropped me a message on Facebook to say, "Oh, sorry, you know, I've not spoken to you for ages, but I'm planning a trip to Disney World. Have you got I know that you go to Disney all the time, and I want to book a holiday for my family." And he was like, "Got any recommendations about where to stay?" And he was like, that was a little bit of a thing of, I don't know, I kind of almost don't know where to start when he's got 2 young kids, and he wants specific parks, and he's thinking about the room arrangements, and then a hotel that's got something for them to do on downtime as well. And it sort of just triggered me thinking back about, well, what would I do if I was in that position? And I flipped back to the very early trips that we went on, and that was kind of, I gave him some ideas. I obviously recommended he follow along on Mickey Waffle, and I'll subsequently point him in the direction of the podcast as well. But it just had me thinking about, there are so many options, and it is really specific
really
personal to what you need.
Totally.
Absolutely.
And every trip changes, because I know not that long ago we were looking at a villa trip.
Wow.
And it's difficult when we've got DVC, because that's where we go mainly. And I know trip in January was Universal focused, but Claire and John have tempted us at looking at a villa.
They have. When that will happen, I don't know, but
I think it's
probably more
whatever
when.
fits your trip, because actually, you know, I know we said last month I've got 3 trips booked. They're all very different, and I'm staying in different places each time. So the first one, Millie and I, we were booked into Pop, and we've actually changed that to Grandestino Tower. And part of that is about the space in the room. It's a slightly bigger room arrangement. It has a bathroom that has 2 sinks and the toilet, which is separate to the rest of the bathroom. It works better for us as for me and Mills, although we're happy to share a room, and
I think
and when I go on my own,
the other thing there, Claire,
when I go on my own, I'm choosing other option, and then in the summer we've got a villa. So
can I
it
just add
works.
as well? And I think this is, if it is a time when you're going for the first or second time, or third time, or fourth time, I think Simon had this in a nutshell there is the fact that you can go and spend loads of money on the most amazing hotel, but you're never going to be in that hotel room. You actually are going to be
Right.
in the parks
Yeah.
for at least
Out to
12
dinner, in the
You're going to
outlet,
be out 12
whatever you
hours
do.
at least a day. Sleep by the pool mid-afternoon, things like that. You're not going to use the room.
Are we speaking from experience?
No, I just
here,
don't
John?
sleep. It's great. That's what it's a bit like you said.
So I don't
No,
recall
but-
sleeping by a pool
No,
ever.
I don't either. But that's I was just taking the
No,
option.
I'd never do something
But-
like that.
You do.
Yeah.
I
I'm
have.
always frightened to keep people.
Really?
I'm always frightened that people sort of looking at me because I'll be snoring, like, you know. So
Simon's definitely fallen asleep.
I have that problem. It's the snoring by the poolside.
Oh,
Yeah.
have you?
yeah,
Well, falling asleep.
I've got
I'd be
photos of him on the
mortified.
lounge.
yeah.
Put a towel over your face, no one knows.
I mean, I fell asleep having a couples massage on the cruise. It was a couples massage, and I fell asleep and basically ruined the entire thing for Robin because it was just me snoring the whole way through. I don't even remember most of the.
They carried on massaging because I,
Surprised.
yeah, no, I think that they would just go, oh, I can't be bothered with this now. He's
Give
just
him a
asleep.
kick.
Sharp elbow to the ribs. Yeah.
Paid
Wake
all
up.
this money for a couple's massage and you're sending them out. No.
Yeah, snoring, so ruining my peace. No, at the
That's
end,
white noise, Robin. That's what it is.
so I'm used to it at this point. Yeah. No, at the end they went, "Morning, Mr. Simon."
Oh, you wait till I see you, Simon. That's that. I'm going to use that.
Sorry about it. I was trying to make
I
I
can't
was making
imagine.
a serious
I don't
point.
know
I was
anyone that-
basically saying the fact you're not in a hotel room, so you might, go for the cheap option rather than shelling out for a big expensive hotel room because actually you're not going to be in it.
I mean, if you look at my dad who falls asleep
Yeah.
absolutely everywhere we go, that's probably the destiny that I have on my cards is
I don't
falling
think it's your
asleep.
destiny. I think it's already
Already
here.
partially done.
You're overachieving already.
Oh dear
Yeah.
me.
Score overachieving some aspect of your life.
Oh.
Brutal.
So next,
I fell asleep on the Channel Tunnel.
Oh, I've done that.
Yeah.
35
Yeah, but
minutes. You
did
can
you,
get a
did
good
you
power nap.
snore? Did you snore out loud or did you woke
No, of
yourself
course
up?
I didn't.
No, this
They
was
likened
On the
me to
Eurostar.
the train. No.
on a packed out Eurostar that was just going
Oh, no, I was
silent
in my
as he was
car.
approaching the tunnel.
Yeah.
No, this was seated on the Eurostar.
And how did you wake up?
As loud as you can through the whole carriage.
Everyone
no.
around us laughed. Everyone started laughing.
Oh, no.
and then,
No.
I'd have been like, he's not
and
with
that's
me.
that's the reason, Simon. I definitely try not to fall asleep beside the pool or on.
Do you sleep on the plane
No,
like that
I don't
as
sleep on the
well?
plane because I'm a.
I
No,
sleep
it's
on the
usually
plane.
his
I
little
don't
bed
sleep on the
with his
plane.
I'm always
duvet over him.
Yeah.
I sleep on the plane, but
I don't because I'm always frightened.
I've no idea. I've no idea whether I snore. I probably do snore, but the noise is that loud on there mostly that most people won't hear it.
If you put your own headphones in those, Simon, you can't hear yourself snore, so that makes it even
Exactly. Noise cancelling headphones. I have no idea what's going on outside. Anyway.
No.
Getting an insight into my
yes.
life now.
Oh, anxiety level
I'm
unlocked,
going-
Robin.
yeah.
I couldn't-
I'm going to put this in as a little marker in the show to see if my wife listens this long into the podcast. At which point, if I turn up next month and I've got bruises down each of my ribs, I'll know exactly that she listened in this far and I didn't fess up to being one of those people that snores on the plane, and she deals with it. But I don't sleep on the plane, according to me. Yeah. I actually feel this is probably quite a fitting point at which to draw to a close our planning for Orlando, because actually it might be divorce lawyers that we're all seeking more quickly. And we might need that. We might need to get to Orlando to find that that sign on the side of the roadway. If you every time you go past, it's like, oh, need a divorce? Call 301-427-7474 for immediate impact. I'm like, oh, good grief, yeah.
Be on the radio.
Happy days there, then. So we need to close this out. And actually, if you've got any more questions about anything that we've waffled about this month, and it really is, this is how planning happens. It goes about trying to cover loads of different bases. Don't just listen to the person that you buy your holiday from in a high street travel agent who says, oh, that's a really nice hotel. Have you stayed there? No, but it looks really nice, doesn't it?
Oh, it's all
Make the decision yourself, because actually you have got the tools. Everything's online. You can go and do your own research, and you can actually get the answers that you need rather than having somebody who isn't qualified to do the work for you. Like we said last month, there are plenty of travel agents out there who have got that expertise that can actually give you that little bit of extra. Go back and listen to January. You will see the ones that we've actually mentioned, because they can. If you're planning your first Florida or Disney trip right now, I just hope we've helped you in this episode more than we probably did in January, and just left you feeling a little bit more calm and hopefully a bit more excited.
As always, each month we'll be here to help you improve or add a little more to your next trip. We also have a mid-month show, sometimes actually featuring people who keep asking us questions. So just like our mid-January show with Nick Carter.
And remember, are also adding to your holiday each and every Wednesday live on YouTube with our live shows, with lots of hints and tips, reviews and things from the parks, which will either save you money or cost you a lot of blessing for your holiday.
That's the downside to the Wednesday shows, Becca. I always, I think maybe we should start with a little warning there, shouldn't we? This show may cost,
Likely to cost you money.
because it's really good. Yeah.
Cost me money every time.
And if you're stuck, confused, or just want to talk Disney, you can always come and join us on our Facebook community at the Waffles Arms. Ask away. We've all been there, so don't worry. Ask us absolutely anything.
Anything.
Yeah, it doesn't even need to be Disney
Does
related.
Simon snore?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably still answer.
There'll be a
I think
poll.
we've ascertained the answer to that is yes.
There'll be a poll of who
Everything
snores.
except sleep
Yeah.
apnea. Let's not go there. Yeah.
Well, I heard that there's a snore app out there. Maybe we can get sponsorship from the snore
there you
app
go.
and, for our podcast. There we go.
Oh, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. And if you get time, we really appreciate every like, comment, subscribe. They're all the things that help keep us seen on social media and on YouTube, etc. So, it really means a lot to us if you can take the time to do that.
And as always, we'll see you soon.
We'll see you real soon.
Now my wheels in motion and my windows open with the wind blowing.